Nightingale of India, and our country's latest singing sensation, the beautiful, the wonderful, the talented Arohi Keshav Shirke.
छोटे छोटे ख्वाब हैं, ख्वाबों में गीत है, गीतों में जिंदगी है, चाहत है, प्रीत है। अभी मैं ना देखूं ख्वाब वो जिनमें रातों में लिखो जो सिले मुझको ना जितना मुझ पे उतना इस दिल को तुझ पे होने लगा एतबार। तन्हा लम्हों में अपने बुनती हूँ तेरे सपने, तुझसे हुआ मुझको प्यार। पूछूंगी तुझको कभी ना चाहूँ
Okay, we have a few participants who joined. Let's wait for a few more. I'm getting a few people joining in now. So let's wait for a couple of more minutes for people to join. Shilpa and Tej will start in a couple of minutes. We're just waiting for a few more people to join. We had about 20 people sign up, so just waiting for a few more people to come on in. Okay, but yeah, in about a minute we'll start. Meanwhile, if you guys want to talk, I can unmute you. Shilpa and Anita and Tej, we all know you as well. So if anybody wants to say anything about what they've learned, or they want to just tell us what they want to hear today's session, we can get that started. You can unmute yourself, guys, if you want to give a quick background about yourself to Anisha, myself, and Shreya. If not, we can just keep going. But yeah, we're welcome. We have a few minutes we can get started with. Anita, I think I know you. You're Harsha's sister.
Yeah, Harpal, yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Harsha's sister, yeah.
Nice.
My son is in senior year, Mission San Jose School.
Oh,
sorry, junior, he'll be going to senior.
Got it. Okay, sounds good. And Shilpa, how about you?
Yeah, actually, my daughter is a junior at Mission San Jose too.
Mission San Jose as well. Is she going to be joining? Both your kids, Anita and Shilpa, your kids joining this session?
Actually, I think my daughter, she's in a class right now.
Okay. All right. Well, this
I
session
think
will get
she
recorded.
might join in sometime. Yeah.
Yeah, and we will be recording this session, and I'll send it out as well, the recording. So
Okay.
you guys should be able to get it. Okay. Well, why don't we get started? It's so 5:03 right now, and let's get things started, and we'll pick it up from there onwards. And yeah, if you guys want to talk anytime in between, I've made mute available to everybody. And Tej, of course, I know you very well. Tej and I have been working for some time together. So, hey, Tej. Shreya, have you met Tej? You have met him, right? Before? Oh, you've not met Tej? Okay. all right.
Maybe once. I'm not sure though.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so let's get started. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate you guys taking the time to come to this session. Session is being recorded. We're going to talk about high school class selection planning. That's the critical subject. And this really came about where just 2 days ago, we were talking with a family. It was actually an 8th grader who was going into 9th grade. And the dad came to us wanting to know, how do I figure the subjects out? And what looked like, I had gone through this before with Shreya, but most of the time Shreya was able to do it herself. And both Dia, my younger one, was able to do it herself too, simply because Shreya was there. But I could literally see death in the eyes of this guy, where he was like, I want to make sure my kid has taken the right subjects. So seeing that, and then talking to another kid the following day, one of the kids who actually works with me on her essays and stuff, I just figured we need to do this for pretty much a larger group of people. So we convinced both Shreya and Anisha to join us on this session. Both Shreya and Anisha have gone through this process. And before in this session, we'll go over some mistakes they made, some things that work for them, and hopefully you all can learn from it. And like I said earlier, we are recording this session, so it will be available on the Sales Coach website. It will be available in our Classroom Academy as well, which I'll talk about. Okay. With going into next direction, I welcome Nak. We have this one mobile person just joined. This is the agenda. What we'll go over, we'll talk about how grades are important in your college application process. We'll go over a framework, how you can actually dominate this entire process of the grades, not just by taking the easier courses and coming up with a 4.0 and all whimsical APs, but we'll actually go through a whole strategy. We'll talk about how guidance counselors, discussions with them become so important in these material that we discuss with them. After that, we'll go into the 4-year plan. We'll go with Shreya, Anisha, and Dia, my younger one, their plans, Dia's current plans for her next 2 years and what she did in the last 2 years. Shreya and Anisha, of course, with the wisdom of what they've already gone through. So we'll discuss theirs. And then we'll go into grade-specific options. We'll open up the discussion at that point to anybody who wants to discuss, specifically in this case for the coming senior year, if you have any questions that you have about the things you are taking on. Yeah, 6th one is only for freshmen folks. So effectively, many of you have already seen this slide if you've been following the Sales Coach website, where you've got 6 dimensions to your college application, and GPA is 50% of your application. In selective schools, it's 50%. In the selective private schools, selective private schools, it's about 50% of your application. Selective public schools, it's more like 60, 65, even 70%. So more selective the school, more important the GPA tends to be. Between the public and private, publics tend to take care more about GPA. And now with the SAT, ACT being going through all the issues they're going through with SAT optional and blind, the emphasis on your GPA and APs has become even higher. Now, point to note is the concept of valedictorians. I was talking to one of the counselors who was at Harvard, and at Harvard, every year they get about they get so many valedictorian applications, they could fill their class size about 3 times over if all they looked at was GPA. So GPA is not the only thing that they look at. AP is also not the only thing they look at. So keys, the goal is not to just go crazy over those. But that said, given that test scores have become optional, this weightage has gone up, and that's what we'll discuss mostly today. If in our opinion, if you've done a good job of planning your GPAs and your SAT, ACTs, and your overall extracurriculars, the essays, the demonstrated interest, and rec letters all follow with that. So really, you have to work your rear off in strategy for the GPA and for the test, the ACT, SATs, and extracurriculars, all the others expect them to follow. But if you've not done a good job there, you will be left thinking, what do I write in my essays? And if you're not referencing your learnings from your GPA or from your classrooms, I see this a lot in the kids I coach. They all write about essays about personal stories or something that they believe they can change the world with. Rarely do I see people talking in college essays about the struggle they had with a particular subject or an epiphany or an aha moment they had while learning a subject. And I think a lot of that is rooted in the fact that you kids have learned how to game the system, and being in mission, everybody else just wants to get a high grade, whereas the focus is little on the charm of learning. I know Shreya went through some of this with her history and place where she learned a lot, but when it comes to chemistry and physics and stuff, sorryly, the system is becoming a lot more like a third world country kind of, where the focus is as much on just getting 4.0s and 5.0s, and that's kind of unfortunate. And that's not why education in the US used to be really well known for what they provided. Shreya, Anisha, whenever you want to chime in, feel free, just come on in, okay? I found this slide just earlier today, that why we take APs, and in red bottom is really, the whole reason we do APs at Mission or any of these competitive high schools is really to just stand out in the process, right? There's no other reason for anybody to take APs. Why would somebody go through the struggle? But if you look at why APs were created, it was really to broaden your college and career choices. It was created for you to take simple courses and to just up your GPA, but to sharpen your skills to be more prepared for college life. And sorry, a lot of that is missing, which is why you see a bunch of these kids coming out super clueless. Like, I'm talking to juniors going into senior year, and when I start talking to them about what subjects do you want to take, what major do you want to go into, and the answer is, I don't know. It's okay to say I don't know, but it's better to say something like, I don't know, I'm deciding between these 2 or 3 different careers for these following reasons, because I learned about this in this particular class versus not, versus saying, well, I want to do computer science because that's the in thing and that'll get me a job. That's like, in my parlay, in my early days, was you don't go to a bar to meet a girl. You go to a bar to have a nice time, to have a drink. But when you start having, when the whole mindset changes, it's what leads to the downfall of a student. So use APs as a chance to really broaden your career prospects and, learn to dream big, guys. And, I wish I could go back to high school sometime and take more risks. But again, I grew up in India where electives were not really a way for us, and we had to just cram up stuff and do it. But you in the US, you kids have a lot better opportunity to learn and to really take the risks, and failing is okay. To get lower marks in a particular subject is okay. As long as you're not getting C's, but make it happen, This is me. I'm a software architect. I work for Salesforce. My background is in computer science, and for fun, I also on the side, helping kids is a passion for me and for Shreya and Anisha and Dia, all of us. And our website is Sales Coach, where we teach kids how to do better job in college admissions. One thing we call it is called the Jugaad philosophy, which is Jugaad is an Indian term used to explain, what is a hustler. When in a country of 1.3 billion people, when you have an unemployment rate of, perpetually at 20%, the system begs to learn ways to get around, the smartest person does not get the job. It's the one with the right zeal and the passion and the creativity who picks up jobs in India. So you can see in this case over here, I found this picture very interesting, where this guy is not only taking a free ride in this train by sitting outside, he's actually transporting his bicycle also along with that. There is a guy behind in this picture where the guy is transferring a can of milk. Those are actually milk cans in which milk is transported in India. And of course, India is a very hot country. So you can see he's put the can of milk, hanging it outside, because this train from inside does not have any air conditioning. This is a third world country, but he's hanging his milk carton outside. And so as a result of that, the milk is staying cool. So you can see it's a Jugaad philosophy where it's a big part of the Indian culture. And, I'm very proud of that root. So we basically, in our framework with working with kids, we teach them smart strategies to get around the college admissions process. Shreya, do you want to quickly introduce yourself? And then of course, we'll have Anisha talk about herself as well.
Yeah, hi, I'm Shreya. I am a sophomore at Wellesley College. Um, on the track to probably graduate a year early, so that's fun. I'm a computer science major, and yeah, I went to Mission San Jose High School. I'm gonna be working at Microsoft this summer. Before I went to college, I barely knew what computer science was, and now it's actually pretty interesting to me. Like there are some parts that suck, but I think mostly overall it's pretty interesting. And I mean, yeah. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Good.
And it's
And
really nice studying at a liberal arts school, computer science at a liberal arts school, because you get the best of both worlds. A lot of one-on-one attention and good exposure. So
you took 7 APs and you took all these 7 between your 11th grade and 12th grade, or did you self-study earlier at all, any of these?
no, I took these all between 11th and 12th. Yeah. I was never good at self-studying and I did not put that pressure on myself. Anisha did. Anisha did self-study quite a few, but I didn't have the motivation to do that.
Harpal, can I ask one question right now or at the end? We can ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
Go ahead, Anita. You can ask.
how do you define a rigor, like course rigor? So everybody says like GPA plus admissions also say the course rigor. So how do you define it? It's like very basic question. I want to understand.
Let's take these questions. Go ahead, Ashray, if you want to give a quick one-liner. Let's
Oh.
start taking the questions towards the end. But yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. But
That's
I
fine.
think
No, go ahead.
it's a good question though, because I think that's useful to everyone. It's just, I think that like people talk about rigor. Personally, I don't think rigor is as important as getting good grades. So I think that whatever the kid feels like they can take and still get good grades in, like, because you don't want, like, to be honest, like, realistically, if you think like you're going to take a push or like AP US history and then you're like, oh yeah, but I'm going to get a B in it, but it'll still look good. Like, no, it would look better if you got an A in regular history. So if you're sure that you can do well in it, then yeah, go for it. If you're not sure, then, there's no point of taking the extra AP.
Okay, because some people says is A in a regular course, sorry, B in a AP is better than A in a regular course. I mean, people have different opinions, so
No, that's not true.
that's confusing.
That's an opinion. It's not the
Okay.
truth though.
Okay, good
Yeah.
to know.
But if you do get a lower grade in a AP, I mean, you don't want to go low, because that does show badly on your application that you didn't really judge your plans very well.
Yeah, it's not gonna like ruin anything, but it's like, it's not a great idea to take an AP that especially if you're unsure if you'll do well or not.
Mhm.
And we'll go over some of these, how you can actually figure out, is this AP for you or not? I've actually got some material to talk about that. So Anisha, why don't you go ahead if you want to talk about your background and go into that next. I'll put
Yeah,
up the
sure.
screen. Give me a second. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so hey everyone, I'm Anisha and I'm currently a sophomore at Northeastern. I graduated with Shreya in 2019 from Mission San Jose High School. I'm currently doing an internship at Wayfair right now. In high school, yeah, so over here, like you could see like some stats that I had. And for APs, we'll talk more about this later, but the mistake I made with how I took my APs is that I took a majority of them in my senior year instead of my junior year. And I ended up like self-studying for a lot of APs as well.
And that did impact your time that you took away from your applications, or how did that impact you?
Right. So in terms of like self-studying for APs, so a lot of people do that like, maybe like sophomore year or junior year just to like get some because not all APs take like, the same amount of time to study for. Like there are some APs that are much easier to score a 4 or 5 in. Like it's gonna be a lot harder to get a 4 or 5 in physics than it is in like, like macroeconomics, because it's just an easier test. I actually took so like I said, I ended up taking 6 AP tests my senior year, And obviously, like, by that point, like, a college won't be able to see it, but I was able to use it to get a lot of college credits for it. So I didn't have to take as many classes in college.
And that in itself is fantastic. The fact that you could take college credits and be on the point to actually graduate sooner,
Right.
which helps. Okay. Cool. Um, just a plug for what we do outside of we actually provide college admission services. This is just a little background on what we provide. Shreya, myself, and we have this company called Sales Coach, where we provide the admission services. 6 specific areas that we do we feel people can use help, which is persuasive writing, which is different for essays, specifically versus what you are taught in academia, which is not exactly persuasive. It's mostly literary writing. Putting together college lists, putting a strategy together for your early admissions, your early decisions, if at all any of those early actions that you're considering. Brainstorming for the essays, so you're not left in the lurch with just putting together a plan with a very hard question coming to you at any given time. You've got the brainstorming done in advance where you can plan for the essays. Next is the college plan, the actual plan of which particular research you need to do for which colleges, and what particular majors you can look at. A lot of that comes into the college plan. We provide that as a service. Anisha and Shreya both actually run this thing called an internship called the Python research programming plan, the PRP program that they run. We can actually talk at some point about that. But we have an internship that we run, which is specifically focused on majors. If that's an interest to anybody, we can be happy to talk about that as well. And merit scholarships. Anisha, if you can just actually in the link in the chat window, just put a link to the PRP website. That can be just for people if they need to, if they're still looking for internships, we can your teams can help them out.
Yeah.
And finally, it's called merit scholarships, which each of you should be applying for merit scholarships now and even later, even when you get applications approved to schools. Keep applying for merit scholarships, and that's an area we work with as well. These are 4 resources. These are free resources that we make available through what we call as the Academy, the College Admissions Guidance Academy. And I will actually make this link available to you guys. So what we'll do is this session as well that we are doing today, we will be, where's the chat window on? Chat, okay. Let me put this in the chat. I would suggest all of you, Tej is already in this class, so he doesn't need to, but all of you, Tej is actually in the premium class. But this is where we will be putting the material up. And this is also a place where all of you should be going to get some of the free material that we provide for freshmen, for sophomores, and for incoming, and for of course, the incoming seniors in terms of topics. Could be networking, could be applications, could be essays. A lot of free material for you all to use, and just learn from us, from our, and of course, also get access to the presentation from today, which will be released around 8 p.m. today to all of you. Okay. So make it a point to please click on this link, which you all were given just now, and sign in with your Google IDs and become part of that free classroom. So the domination strategy for your grades, there is a way to dominate. You don't just have to get a 4.0, but there is a whole way to dominate. One is, of course, knowing who your competition is. Your competition is not somebody sitting in Alabama or in Boston. It is somebody who because they're typically you're competing. Like Shreya would be competing against Anisha because they were in the same classroom, and it had very similar grades. The gospel of grades. What do you really want to make sure that your grades are showing? And a performance progression. It goes to what Anita was asking earlier about what does it mean to have a challenging course? A challenging course could be something in a progression as you keep taking different courses in a continuum, where you could start with a particular math course, go to a higher math course as a progression, versus saying, I'm going to take an AP physics and AP bio and an AP chemistry and an AP stats and literally the whole kitchen sink. That's not considered literally challenging yourself. That just means you have more quantity, you don't have much quality. So that's a difference to think about. And as you do this planning, knowing your competition is important. This is the stereotypical profile of your peers who you are dealing with today. And stereotypical meaning these are people who look like you, they are in your classroom. These are people because that's when the admissions officers look at a Mission kid, they don't compare them to a Washington High kid either. They just look at Mission, how many APs Mission was providing, what's the rigor of the school, what was the conditions of that school at a particular time, and they make a decision about when they weigh one versus the other. And this has become even more important now with SAT, ACT going optional, that the rigor of the school or comparing you to your peers is going to become even more important. So it's very important is to really be providing something different from any of these people. If any of your peers are just doing a kitchen sink of APs, like taking 9 or 10 APs, you might be better off not by taking 12 APs, but by taking a strategic approach to taking 4 APs, which are going towards a demonstrated major that you were planning for, and maintaining that as a mechanism versus just trying to go like a chicken without a head. Work on your extracurricular activities. This is an area, something which we have talked about before. We actually have, we did an extracurricular activities presentation just last week or like 2 weeks ago. And some of you had not have not been in those meetings with us. So I will put that in the chat as well. Here I will put that a recording of that extracurricular activities thing. Yeah, it's a recorded, it's a sanitized, shortened version, but that'll give you some context on what extracurriculars are or how you should be planning for for quality extracurriculars. So knowing your extracurriculars, and of course, if you've done a good job of planning your grades, the progression, and what you learned in school, your essays will actually start becoming good. They'll actually not just be about, oh, I went to Timbuktu and I broke my leg over there, or I saved a woman from dying. It'll become actually better than that. So think about that. Same thing for your recommendations. Your recommendations become stellar, not because you had a 4.0 in a class, but because you ask intelligent questions, you help others in the class. You have actually a creative flavor to the class where your people who want to recommend you actually think that you need that, or you could use what they've done. Same thing goes for demonstrated interest. If there is a particular AP as a particular major path that you are thinking about, the demonstrated interest, which is the ability to talk to a school about why they should accept you in a particular program, that goes up. And I see this lacking in most of the communities across the immigrant communities in Mission, where the focus is so much more on just GPA and APs that they miss out on a lot of important things. No wonder we don't send too many of our kids to Yale or to Harvard, or we just don't. If you look at it, most of our Mission kids land up going to the UCs, which is not bad, but they don't land up going to as many selective schools as they should for the potential these kids have. The gospel of grades is you really want to have, as I said, quality over quantity. Have your, and Shreya and Anisha will talk about the quality of these grades or the subjects that you can take. Make sure they are relevant to your particular, stated major. So, for example, like I know even Shreya was just the other day telling somebody, take AP Stats, take this, take that. I mean, they're like, that's an easy one to take. I get it, those are easy to take, but make sure they're relevant to the courses you are thinking about. You shouldn't be applying for a major in maybe political science. Oh, actually, political science and stats are perfect together. But if you're applying for becoming a doctor, how is an AP Stats going to, make that a better case for you? But, again, the jury's out. Just be consistent in what you're taking. Make sure your performance the grade is going up. So you experiment early on, and then towards the 10th and 11th grade, you stop experimenting. By 11th, you're definitely not experimenting with new subjects. Very, very critical times that time. So experimentation should be 9th grade and 10th grade. After that, show consistency and growth after that. And then finally, do what motivates you. Like just yesterday, I was talking to this one kid, she wants to go to pre-med track, but she was arguing away with me. She did for 10 minutes, she argued why she wants to take AP Spanish and wants to do the AP Spanish, even though she had done Spanish 4, because she loves it. It motivates her. So that's fine. Do it what you want to do. But, in that case, she really wanted to do it. But be based on that, not just based on, oh, what will look good to a college. The academic rigor and the AP dilemma, that will always stay, right? And that's the question Anita was asking, what does rigor mean, right? What rigor really in some ways means is maintaining a balanced workload still while they're getting a good 4.0 or grade? And does it mean to have more classes or to have harder APs? Are you better off taking a lot more versus taking one hard AP and then just nailing it in and really saying, okay, I got it from this AP, I put together my major plan? You decide. I mean, ultimately, none of us is an admissions officer, right? We can just make educated guesses, and most of the time, our educated guesses are better than the crap we read on College Confidential and all those places. So just plan to take progressively harder topics each year. You really want to show the school that you're matured, you're intellectually ready for college level courses. Like the other day, I was talking to this kid, and she said, she was asking me about which colleges should I apply to, and what subjects should I take for a particular college. And her GPA was, I think, less than 3.4 and 3.2 actually. Now, my first thing to her was like, I don't think you are really ready for college. College is hard stuff. Both these girls will tell you how hard college is. So the APs help you test the water. Should you even be going to college? Should you be just going to a community college instead, right? So think about those things in larger perspectives, or what is a better grade or a harder grade? Like, is a B in an AP course better than an A in a regular course? I will let again these two tell you, what they think is, what they have learned from their years of doing this. You want to make sure you have a balanced progression. That's very, very important, right? This is like a funnel. In your freshman year, you start with easier courses, maybe you have one honors. I mean, in this case, I'm preaching to kids who are already showing up in 12th grade. I wish you had come to me earlier to talk about this, but this is my gospel, right? Really try to take easier courses, maybe one honors class. And I can probably see both Anisha and Shreya going like, cringing at this thing, but just have one AP, do a self-study, right? Try to balance things out. I found some amazing self-paced courses on edX. edX is basically run by the MIT Consortium and Harvard. And you can actually get these courses for free. There are courses on Coursera. There is a course by AP Online Catalog, where you can actually get these courses for free, and you can try it out and you can decide which course you want to go into. And then of course, next year you can challenge yourself more, but plan for the self-study early, not later in the senior year or the junior year. That's when kids start waking up. So, plan for it earlier. It'll look respectful on your resume. The admissions officer will see the fact that you actually figured this out, but again, in junior year, only take 3 APs maximum. And you'll hear some horror stories from these two crazy girls, what they did. But really, this is the hardest push you're going to do in your years. And in senior year, you just hold back on the APs because your focus should be on applications and maximizing your applications and your scholarship applications, which most of your kids don't end up putting in. The merit scholarship applications need to go in this year. So hold back the urge to take more APs, but focus on the actual important things at that time. Senior writers, again, I'll let these girls tell you what it is. But you have low-hanging fruits. AP Computer Science A, AP CS Principles. These are things you can take in 9th grade and 10th grade. These are easy courses. And they're not easy just because I'm a computer science guy, but they're actually easy courses. You can do these courses and build your AP, kitty of APs just from here. Most important is build a strong bond with 2 to 3 teachers and your guidance counselor across these 4 years. Talk to your guidance counselor again and again about the courses you're taking. Make them feel important, make them feel a part of this process. Thank your teachers from what you learned, some new insights you got in a particular classroom working with them. So all these things together lead to stellar recommendation letters for you. This is what your recommendation letter should say. Okay, your recommendation letter should not be like, oh my goodness, I need to give the guy a recommendation. Yeah, he was okay in the class, he did all his assignments. Literally the application, the essay, the recommendations from your guidance counselor, your teachers have to scream these things. He was helpful, he's confident, he knows, he's original, he believes in himself. This is he or she. And that's what comes when you actually have stretched yourself in a strategic way in your APs. Okay? Make sure you have 4 years of a foreign language. This is critical. I know Shreya's counselor forced this one on her. Like you can see these, when schools say they need 4 years of a language and 4 are recommended, like Michigan and Harvard are saying, when they say recommended, it actually means that's what they want. Okay. So Ivies and all the good schools expect you to have 4 years, not 3 years. Most kids try to get away with 3 years of a language. Make sure you go to 4. Finally, now we're going to get into the 4-year plan review. I'll open this up to questions if you have any questions so far on anything I've spoken. And then now, if you not have questions, then we can go into the next one. But Anita, Shilpa, Tej, anybody, Nak, anybody wants any questions, please go ahead. It's open to the ask questions now. No questions?
So yeah, I had the question regarding the courses, but I think your slide gave me the answer. I
Okay.
wanted to see, like, as the senior year, whatever your courses you're taking seniors, that's not counted, right? 10th to 11th, that's not counted in the GPA for the colleges. But do colleges see your course, what you're taking in senior, or do they ask for the GPA as well for senior year?
Shreya, do you want to say that? Or should I give the answer to that?
No. Why don't you go for it, and I can add on if you have anything, if you missed.
I think the question was around the APs that you take in the courses you take in final year or in the senior year. Do the colleges look at that? Depends when you apply, Anita. So if you apply in early action, they probably will not get it because they'll know at least you've taken a subject, but it won't show up on the transcripts. So you have to, or you could write in your application that you are taking this subject, but then they will want to, before they make a decision, well, early action decisions come out much in December, so they might not be able to take that into action. But if it's a regular decision, they will expect you to provide the transcript of first semester, and that can be pretty cool, right? You've only done first semester, and they, based on that, they're giving you making a decision about you. So right there could be a very interesting opportunity. Is that what the question was, or?
Yeah, so for senior year also, you need to make, you are doing the progression, take some good courses. It's not like taking the easy courses because you have to fill up the applications, and most of your time in first semester will go towards the application. So that
Right.
was my kind of a
So
question.
all the more the reason, in fact, then to plan better. And if you've not planned, do not try to mess it up. I think that's probably what Anisha will tell you, that the fact that if you have not taken some courses and you're trying to boost up your GPA, you could end up in a bigger mess because your senior year, that time of the year, you need for your applications and for your merit scholarships. So, and unless you're only applying to UC, in which case, fine, go ahead, do what you're doing. But make sure you're not taking more than 2 APs in your final year is really my suggestion on this one.
I had a question.
Go ahead, Tej.
So I'm taking, so I've taken 3 years of Spanish 2, 3, and 4 honors this year, and I'm self-studying for AP. Would colleges be like, when they say 4 years recommended, would they put me at a disadvantage because I'm taking 4 honors in AP in 1 year?
If you've taken up to you said you already took Spanish 4, right?
No, this year I'm doing 4 and I'm doing AP as well. I'm self-studying for it.
Yeah, that's fine. Wait, you're a junior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you've taken Spanish 4, that means even if you took one of those in middle school, that means you took 4 years of language.
Yeah, I didn't do Spanish 1 in middle school, so I did it outside.
Regardless, it still
yeah.
counts as 4 years of language. It's not
Okay.
like they're going to be looking at your middle school transcript. And also, if you self-study at AP, I actually highly recommend that, because like one of the regrets I had was not taking AP Spanish, only because my school, not all schools do this, but my school had a language requirement and I could have gotten out of that if I had taken AP. So if you're self-studying it, it's fine. But yeah, you've definitely at least fulfilled your 4 year, so you're good.
I mean, you fulfilled with a 3 year, but this already you're going way beyond with 4, and the AP.
Yeah,
helps a lot.
exactly.
So you're in good shape, man.
I like that. Yeah, it's great.
Okay. All right. Any more questions before we can go next? Okay. All right. Let's start. Okay. So next we're going to do is the 4-year plan review. My 3 takeaways from this is, make sure you write your plan down on an Excel spreadsheet or in a table. It should read like a poem. One should be able to look at it end to end, the 4 years, and say, oh, I should be able to see the progression. I should not be a chicken without a head, or all over the map, like you're like, oh, doing this and that. So try to make sure, and most of you do make it happen, but sometimes I do see a problem there too. Your people should be able to look at and do a litmus test. Show it to a counselor. Show your 4 years of your subjects, and ask a counselor saying, what do you think I will graduate? What major would I be going for if you were to guess what I'm saying? And if they can guess based on what they see, you nailed it already. Half the time that doesn't happen because kids have all kinds of APs and subjects if they've taken just to game the system, and that doesn't show. And it shows that they haven't thought this through all the way. And officers are trained to look at that stuff. And they look at thousands of applications a month. So track your progression and maturity. It's more important than the number of APs. So progression and actually talking about that in your applications, in your essays. Make sure you talk about this because that's so important. And I see that missing, talk about your love of a particular subject and that literally like shoving it down the admissions officers because, hey, if you didn't notice what I had done here in my essay, also I'm making a point to talk about it. You've got to be blatantly shameless to make a point to talk about your studies too, because those are important. Okay. So this is Shreya's, okay, well, Diya's we've actually hidden over here. Okay, all right, because Diya's we're going to do next time. Okay, so this is Shreya's high school courses. Shreya, do you want to talk about it? How you went about the process, how you selected and what happened in your world?
Yep, I did. You know how a lot of people are, you'll hear this phrase a lot of times as a parent that your child, or you will hear from your friends and you'll say, I heard XYZ looks good, and I heard this is good, and I heard that's good. And it's all that I took all of that in of who said what was good, and it resulted in this schedule. And I have not made a worse mistake in my entire life than my 11th grade schedule. So this was it was absolutely ridiculous and completely unnecessary. And in hindsight, just not worth it. So as someone who's been on the other end of taking, this counted as 6 weighted classes, and Spanish 4 also counted as a weighted class because we got I got college credit for it pretty much. So plus a 7th period, and it was just completely unnecessary. So if you come to me with this kind of schedule and you show me that, I'm immediately gonna say absolutely not. Like it's not like I tell this to pretty much everyone, but it's not like someone's going to be like, wow, you took honors pre-calculus instead of normal pre-calculus. That's an automatic acceptance into Harvard or whatever, right? Like, so that's all I have to say on this. It's just don't do this. But my 12th grade is, I had 4 APs in 12th grade, but they were all pretty chilled out for the most part. So my 12th grade schedule was pretty chill. 10th grade was tough, but it was doable, and 9th grade was pretty easy. So
in hindsight, what would you do different, Shreya?
In 11th, I would not have taken as many APs as I did. I would not have taken AP US history. That would have saved me a lot of tears, and I probably would have taken something an easier science in 11th grade, like AP Bio or something like that, because it would have just been less time consuming. Then I could have just focused mainly on honors pre-calculus, where I really needed to focus. But since I took AP Chemistry and honors pre-calculus, I was always dividing my attention between the two, and it was very exhausting. I did it, but it was exhausting and it wasn't necessary. And no, you cannot take AP Gov and Econ admission at MSJ, but you can from to NAC, you can self-study them, but Mission doesn't offer them.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on. You can so Mission offers the AP Econ, the macro econ and micro econ test. If you want to take Gov, you have to register for the AP test at a different school. And I did that at Irvington when I took it.
Good. Okay. Shreya, anything else from you for yours, or should I move to Anisha's?
No, I'm good.
Anisha, go ahead.
So Shreya made the mistake of taking too many courses in her 11th grade. So the mistake I made was that I didn't take enough AP courses in exactly 11th grade. I advise you guys all to just kind of look at how UCs calculate the GPAs, or how some of the schools you're interested in calculate GPAs. But for the UCs, they only look at your 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, and Mission doesn't let you take APs in 9th and 10th grade as much as other schools let you do. So when I finally came to calculating my grade, I realized like, oh, my UC GPA is really low, even though like my actual GPA isn't too bad. And because like I ended up taking most of my APs in 12th grade, it looked better when I applied to like a private school, like regular decision or something like that. Because and also like, so like from the school I'm going to, like Northeastern, so like they were giving like, they give like 5.0s if it's an AP class that you got an A in. If it's an honors class that you got an A in, it's like 4.5. And so my GPA there was like a lot higher. So like definitely look into that if you're interested in the UCs. And also for the UCs, they also cap it at 4 APs, so you don't have to take more than that. It's just I didn't even reach that, so that was bad.
Awesome. Okay, this is Dia's high school courses. As you can see, again, she's pretty chilled out as well. She's my younger one. She's finished 9th and 10th. She's in 10th right now. This is what she's planning. Obviously, we learned some of our lessons from Shreya's debacles. And, so you can see it's a little easier. Psych, environmental sciences are not as hard, but she is challenging herself with algebra 2, trigonometry. Dia wants to go into law. So if you look at everything we've done over here, is pretty much in that line. That she does see that creative side of herself, and STEM schools are not for her. So we actually planned in such a way that these were her subjects. Okay, nothing super earth-shattering. Even her English are all regular. She didn't take any honors over here, although we would have liked her to take an honors here, but she chose. And so, she is one of those kids who we feel we have to push her a little bit more, but I'd rather have that as the case than most kids at Mission who would land up self-incriminating and killing themselves over, which we don't want in our kids. Any questions about any of these that we've shown so far? You can put it on text, and then we can unmute you and you can ask as well. Okay. So right now I've just muted everybody. Okay. Shreya, do you want to talk about this? The current math pathways for current secondary. Most of it doesn't apply as much to the incoming seniors, but anything that will apply to Tej or Anita or anybody, please.
Well, like the only thing that I have to say on this is this is the pathway for the Fremont Unified School District. It's not the pathway for everyone, but the bottommost option going into geometry and algebra 2 trig, and then algebra 2 trig and pre-calculus in your 10th grade, it's very tiring. Unless your kid is really, really good at math, it's probably not for you. It's way worse than anything I had to deal with, because mine, I had geometry and algebra 2. They were both honors, but they were separated. That was what it was like for me and Anisha. But like a year after us, they switched it for the class right below us to this thing, and it's way more compressed. It's just too fast. And so I mean, I think Anisha can attest to that more than I can, because she's seen like her own brother and stuff go through that. But I think the one where you do algebra 2 trig in 10th grade, that one, and then pre-calc in 11th grade, that's the best path, because that's definitely the best path, because it's like you get a year for each subject. If your kid is in algebra 1 in 9th grade, I would recommend, a lot of times kids will take on the first path. It shows that in 9th grade people take algebra 1, and then in 10th grade they might take geometry and algebra 2 and trig, like both of those classes together, which I recommend because it's good to catch up for so you can take calculus in your senior year, because you want to try to take calculus in your senior year, but if you're not able to, that's okay too.
So in 10th grade, you're saying double up, have geometry and algebra 2 and trig?
If you can. If it's not your strong suit, then don't do it. Like but if you can do it, it would be great to catch up to get to calculus. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions from anybody on the call?
I think Anisha can probably talk a little bit more about the high school acceleration path also if she wants to.
I actually don't know a whole lot about it. I do know it's pretty time consuming though. So just I don't know if you're a rising like sophomore, junior, like definitely take that into account when planning your schedule.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all.
Okay. Let me put something in the chat for everybody. Some of you have just recently joined, so would like for you all to join the classroom, the Google Classroom, where we'll be posting these slides and recording. So please make sure you join this classroom, and this is the juniors free classroom where we actually post a lot of new content as well. Okay, so grade specific question, the last part of it. That's what I guess we were just answering some of the questions around the grade specific questions. So we'll open it up at this point to everybody to to ask any questions that they might have of the team, and we'll go from there. So please go ahead. Anybody having any questions? I'm unmuting everybody right now, so you can ask questions. Okay, anybody have any more questions? Shashi, you raised your hand for anything. Did you have a question?
Yeah, so I asked a question about in the chat. So my son completed AP Calc AB in junior. So what will be the recommendation for the senior year?
Is he already done with stats as well?
Yeah, he did stats to AP stats this year and AP Calc AB.
Okay, so I think only BC kids can take multi-var now, right?
Yeah, I think BC kids are taking linear algebra or something, but
right.
these kids like C++ and discrete or something.
Oh, right.
But
so
is that recommended, or is it worth taking that? Or
right, so C++ and discrete, I don't think you need BC for that. That's actually a pretty cool class you can take. But I don't think it's weighted. So, that's up to you. I also know some people just also take BC, but that might not be as useful. So yeah, or you also I just wanted to say AP computer science counts as a math course. It's in the math department. So
yeah, he didn't take computer science last year. He didn't get it, so he put as
yeah. So you can take it this year. It all depends. Like I heard C++ in a discrete was a good class when I was there at least. So
okay, who else? Anybody else have a question? Just unmute yourself. I've opened it up right now for everybody to ask questions. So go ahead, anybody.
I have one more question about science.
Please. Oh, absolutely. Keep going.
So my son took like NGSS syllabus, right? So first year is some general science or something course, and then second year is chemistry. He didn't take anything this year. So that's why he's taking AP physics next year. So I just wanted to know, is it compulsory to take regularly like the 3-year science courses, or he can have break? Like, is that okay? Is my question clear, or?
Anisha, was it clear to you? Or should we?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? Can
So
repeat the question, please?
Science course, my son took first 2-year science, but a third year, like the junior, he didn't take any science course. So is 3 years in sequence is recommended, or whole 4 years he has to take 3 years of science?
Oh, it's fine however you want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, my own internet connection is a little messed up, so I'm not able to hear complete statements. Anisha, you said something about might be a good idea to take stats and
right.
Was that
so
Nak asked that question. Go ahead.
Right. So getting into like accounting and
Question?
finance.
What
Okay,
was
so
the question?
yeah. So what are some good electives to take if you want to go into like accounting and finance? And like since Mission is like a really STEM school, there actually aren't like a whole lot of options for, going further down the business track. But like I think it's a good idea to take like stats and calc. I think it's a good idea also to like maybe like make your own projects or anything like that on the side to just kind of like show your interest. Maybe like investing or like having some of your own experiences, like using like Robinhood, stuff like that is all good. But in terms of like classes you can take, I think if as long as you've taken like your econ classes and like your stats and calc, I think that's pretty good.
Well, also, don't you guys teach this thing, Anisha, you and Shreya, in your internships? Do you not go over some of these things of, the accounting and finance kind of things
Right,
at all?
right.
Is there a plan at some point to?
I don't know if you're interested, but what we're actually doing is that in the link that I sent in the chat where it says like Python research program, we're actually teaching a course on like Python with like finance, and like what we're going to be doing is like creating like stock predictor models and like stuff like that. So if you're interested, like definitely reach out to us. Like that can help you show demonstrated interest in your college apps.
Put a link to that program, and while any more questions come up, feel free to ask questions. While I'll just put this on the screen, this particular. But yeah, go ahead if any questions are coming. Okay, do we have any more questions? Not, we can just go into the PRP, and maybe you can just quickly give a plug to the Python research programming program, girls. Do you want to talk about it? Something wrong with my internet. Won't come up for me.
Yeah, sure, I can talk about it. So more about the Python research program, like so what we're doing is that like when we were learning how to like code in like in high school, like what we would do is that we would like maybe like learn some syntax in Python, and we would like kind of get to like a dead end, like how are we supposed to use this to actually show that we're interested in like programming or like anything related to programming, like like finance, and like you can do so much with it, and like we just had a really hard time being able to show that we're interested. And so what we did is that we created this program so that we can help students who want to learn how to program, and then build some actual projects like alongside like some fields. So for example, like we have a class dedicated to like Python programming and finance, where we're going to create like finance related projects with code and everything like that. And by doing this stuff, what you can do is that it gives you something great to write about. It like admissions officers can like clearly see that you're really interested in something, and that counts for like a lot. So definitely like urge you guys, if you're interested in this or if you've been trying to like learn how to code, definitely look at this link, and maybe it'll be something that you really like.
Okay.
Yeah, so here are like the 3 different tracks that we are offering. If scroll down a little bit, but yeah. So we have one for like bioinformatics and like biology related stuff. We have like one specifically for finance and economics related things, and then we have one for like general like computer science and data science.
Okay, Nak had a question. Do you want to quickly give the answer to that question, Anisha? Said, I was wondering if how can I fill my void of math, as I got a C in my geometry in 10th grade, and now I'm unable to take pre-calc in 12th grade in MSJ.
Yeah, I think that's totally fine. I think so. Like, it's like a cool opportunity for you to like, really like look into like other parts of your application. So like doing something like this would obviously like really help show interest, and also you could self-study for like APs and stuff like that. I'm not sure if they're letting you do that anymore because of COVID, but like, that could be another way to go about it. And yeah, just like, really, really show interest, really write a good essay, and like that can actually go a really long way.
Okay, Great. Thank you so much, Anisha. We have to wind up now. We have our 6 o'clock session starting in 3 minutes with the sophomores, which is the next one. So if anybody else has any questions, just shoot them over to us and we'll be happy to get on a call with you and, go to salescoach.com. And thanks, Anita. Thanks for coming. Thanks, Nat.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun, guys. Okay, take care. Bye now. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.